Good morning. Ms. Hightower De Niro, Ms. Castelluccio, families and friends, colleagues, and the class of 2017. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for Léman's class of 2017. It is a pleasure and an honor to welcome you to this special occasion. Seniors, you look great, and we are so proud of you today. I'd like to begin my brief remarks by saying, again to the seniors, take a deep breath and enjoy this ceremony. It's yours, and it's your big day. You worked hard, really a lifetime, for this moment, and you deserve a little glory and praise. So please, before you leave us, before you go off to colleges and universities far and wide, allow us to heap a little bit of glory and praise upon you today. Next, I would like to thank you, seniors, and thank your loved ones in the audience for welcoming me into what has been your home for some time. While I am just getting started here, many of you have been here for years. In the short time I have known you, it has become clear to me that you have made quite a mark on this place. Thank you for being my first senior class. I will remember you fondly and for a long time. Lastly, I'd like to return to something I said when I first met you in September. I spoke about my grandfather who came to the USA from Italy, and he arrived right across the harbor via Ellis Island. In effect, I said he was the reason I was at Léman. He inspired a curiosity in me about my heritage. He sparked a desire to travel and to learn about other languages and cultures. No surprise that I ended up in a place like this. And then I asked you, why were you here? I hope that your journey here at Léman Manhattan has helped you to deepen your understanding of yourselves and of others, and how all of that works together. Developing strong identities and understanding your own strengths and struggles go hand in hand with understanding the identities, strengths, and struggles of others. I hope that you all will always honor and be good to yourselves, and honor and be good to others, to continue to develop empathy for others and to serve those in need. If you do, I'm confident that it will bring you much satisfaction in life. So, with that, dear seniors, I wish for you a lifelong memory of this day and, of course, of your time at Léman Manhattan. You have helped to make it what it is, and we are thankful for that. Congratulations, class of 2017, and thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our head of school, Ms. Rhea Chakraborthy.
Good morning, parents, family members, guests, faculty and staff, our esteemed speaker, Grace Hightower Dinero, and of course, our 2017 graduates. This is a day of great excitement, celebrating all the possibilities that lie ahead for our graduates who are beginning their new journey. It's a time when those of us who stand up here have searched inside ourselves to find some meaningful thoughts and lasting words to give you on your final day at Léman, Manhattan. During these past few weeks, when I was thinking about what message I wanted to give to you, I was also watching the controversial and widely talked about Netflix series, 13 Reasons Why. Now, I must tell you that originally I decided that I would only watch an episode or two so that I would be knowledgeable about the show and could participate in conversations about it. But by the end of the first episode, I was hooked. Now I began to watch the series from a variety of perspectives. As a Léman Manhattan student, as I was a high school student many years ago, a parent of 4 children who are now adults, and more recently a grandparent, and of course a long-time educator and now head of school at Léman. And I quickly realized that the reason why I was so engrossed in the show was because it pulled at all parts of me. All these parts of my human being. Now, I'm not going to speak to you about the specifics and the often difficult content of the show, although I do believe that it speaks from a place of truth. But I do want to share the thoughts I had when I sat in silent reflection after the final episode. I left with the profound belief of how much we need each other, all of us. We are not alone in life. And this is not a new concept. Vygotsky, a leader in educational theory, stressed the fact that social interaction plays a fundamental role in cognitive development. In other words, we need each other to learn. And Erik Erikson, a renowned cognitive psychologist, believed that life did not make any sense without interdependence. He wrote, "We need each other, and the sooner we learn that, the better for all of us. We need each other to bring meaning to our lives." And I would imagine that I have asked each of you to recall one event, one memory from your years at Léman, that most likely it would be an interaction you had with another person, a teacher, a classmate, a close friend, maybe while studying together or working on a group project, being at a dance, going to parties, communicating on social media. It would be something that involved other people in a social interaction. Never have I asked that question about a favorite school memory and it had not included a social interaction. Social interactions cause lasting memories and do much to form us. We need one another to make life meaningful. And needing others doesn't mean that we are less independent or less capable. Needing others doesn't mean that we are less ambitious or less goal-oriented or less capable. Needing others mean we are more inclusive, more accepting. Needing others mean we are more compassionate and more understanding. And when we are all of these things, it gives us the interdependence that Erik Erikson said was so important, and it makes us all interconnected and more successful. If you watch the series, you would have seen how everyone and every event was interconnected. How one small social interaction had a rippling effect on others that could either joyously lift them up or tragically tear them down. And we've all experienced this, extreme highs and unfortunately times of extreme lows. But the good news is that we have a choice to do something right now today. We don't have to wait for Congress to pass a bill or the Supreme Court to make a ruling. Right now, today, we can choose how we connect to one another. In the final episode of 13 Reasons Why, the main character, Clay, after confronting his counselor about what happened and how each of their roles contributed to the outcome, he shakes his head and he says, "It has to get better. The way we treat each other and look out for each other, it has to get better somehow." So I challenge you, as I challenge myself and all of us here today, to continue to make it better, to care more deeply, to listen more closely, to share more honestly, to love more genuinely. It will make you feel more alive. It will energize you to be more creative, to take more risks, and it will help make the world a better place. Malcolm X is quoted as saying, "We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding, understanding creates love, love creates patience, and patience creates unity." I look at this unique and talented class and all the students and families at Léman, and I see a unity of people, connected in their compassion and understanding, and committed to making the world a better place. I know you all join me in wishing this graduating class of 2017 a wonderful and successful journey into this better new world. Thank you. And now I have the honor to introduce to you the Student Government President, Chaz Vest.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we are incredibly lucky to have with us Ms. Grace Hightower Dinero, a woman who is the embodiment of so many of the qualities and skills that we as a graduating class value. Ms. Hightower Dinero is a successful entrepreneur, having started the coffee company Coffee of Grace, which partners with coffee farmers in developing nations to help create sustainable business. Ms. Hightower Dinero is also deeply involved in the philanthropic community. She supports causes such as Autism Speaks and JobPath, and has served on the boards of the New York Women's Foundation and the New York Fund for Public Schools. On top of all that, Ms. Hightower Dinero is also a singer and actress, having provided lead vocals for songs from the movie Precious, and having roles in shows like NYPD Blue. In addition to her multifaceted career, she has raised 2 children and was awarded Mother of the Year by the American Cancer Society in 2012. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Grace Hightower Dinero. Thank you.
Good morning, Mrs. Castelluccio, Mr. Spazzano, faculty, staff, parents, guests, and especially you, the 2017 Léman Manhattan graduates. As I've learned more about Léman Manhattan, I've become very impressed with the quality of the educational experience offered, and frankly, amazed at what all of you have accomplished. One term I keep hearing, and it called out to me, is global citizen. Global citizen is a beautiful term suggesting a united planet with shared respects for the rights of all and a devotion to caring for our fellow men and women. It's also a challenging term, and ultimately our relationship to global citizenship is personal. Every global citizen's journey is different. I'll tell you a little bit about mine. I've been privileged to be able to travel the world. While I moved around with great respect for the countries and the people that I met, I did so more as a tourist than a citizen. I love our city of New York, and for all its faults, my home country, the United States of America. Yet I have always thought of myself as a world citizen with a connection to people everywhere, outside our borders as well as within. I was uncomfortable, though, because I had a sense that global citizenship was something that needed to be earned, and I hadn't earned it yet. Then I met Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda. He led his country out of the devastation that followed the 1994 genocide to a new Rwanda that is relatively peaceful and stable. The economy is one of the fastest growing in Africa. Poverty is falling, health and education indicators are improving, and the country has the highest ratio of female parliamentarians in the world. We could learn from them. President Kagame really got my attention when he said that what Rwanda needed was trade, not aid. On my next visit to his breathtaking country, I traveled through the countryside and met with farmers, not such a stretch for me, a girl who grew up on a farm in Mississippi. I'd never given much thought to where my morning cup of coffee was sourced. What I discovered in Rwanda opened my eyes. The farmers told me that their coffee crop benefited from the perfect topography and climate, but that was just the beginning of the story. I saw how the people who planted, tended the trees, washed and sorted the unroasted beans, called cherries at that stage, did so with such care, pride, and yes, love. The people themselves are incredibly kind, truthful, honest, hardworking, people of integrity. Fast forward, I'm in the coffee business. No one was more surprised of that twist than I. It is great coffee, but I'm not here to sell you coffee, though some of you parents look like you could use a cup. You know, it was never about selling or creating a business. For me, it was about becoming part of the team that brings the product from the earth to the market. I share the process with the workers at every stage. The farmers who till their own land, most of them owning 100 trees or fewer, the washers and sorters who lovingly process the cherries for our consumption, my staff who makes sure that the coffee gets to you, the consumer. They're all making a living wage. They're all respecting the environment by producing a sustainable, non-chemically or biologically enhanced product. I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm earning my global citizenship. Now, how will you earn yours? You've been well prepared to answer that question. I'll just add a little practical advice. Number one, there's no hurry. You're not after a visa or a passport. Unlike school, there are no exams. It's not an accomplishment so much as a process. Live like a global citizen, and you'll become one. 2, forget about borders. Be open. Thank you. Be open to the people and opportunities wherever they are. I found that opportunities appear when you least expect them. You'll know you are a global citizen when you don't care where your shirt or your blouse is made, whether it's in the United States or Pakistan or Vietnam or Kazakhstan or another stan or UK. But you care deeply that the workers who made it are paid enough to live on, feed their families, have a decent home, educate their children. 3, keep learning. Duh. Okay, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon may have said it better. He started the UN Global Education First initiative and made one of the priorities fostering global citizenship. Number 4, you might have to fight for it. The world's been going a little crazy lately. Have you noticed? Our country was built by its first peoples, the Native Americans, and by generations of immigrants. We were defined by the compassion and humanity we showed to the newest among us. Now, some of our leaders appear threatened by the concept of global citizenship and want to retreat from our founding principles. Fight against it. And number 5, keep the lessons learned here at Léman with you. You have been nurtured in an international environment. You have enthusiastically embraced public service. You have learned to be problem solvers. You have studied history, math, and the liberal arts. You are prepared for whatever the changing world will bring. You will be the global citizens we all need. It's an honor for me to share this day with you. Léman Manhattan class of 2017, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hightower De Niro. Next is a musical selection in which 3 seniors will share a beautiful song that is about exploring the world and having life experiences, and that is also about remembering where you came from and knowing that you can always return home. Please welcome Samantha Eddington, Kiana Nangle, and Samantha Shulman, who will... They will now perform Fly Away Home.
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll ride to the mountain tops, won't you come follow me? And I'll take time to notice all that I see. And after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away home. Well, life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, when all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go. We'll fly away, fly away home. We'll fly away, fly away home. Ooh, we'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. We'll fly away, fly away, fly away.
Thank you, girls. We will miss those sweet voices. You're welcome to come back home anytime. I would now like to introduce Melanie Hunt, an English teacher at Léman, Manhattan, who has taught this group of seniors IB English for the past 2 years. Ms. Hunt has been chosen by the class for this honor. Please welcome Ms. Melanie Hunt.
Welcome, family, friends, administrators, teachers, and students. I am honored to be here today to speak on behalf of the Léman Manhattan 2017 senior class. Now, I know a part of the reason the students invited me up here is in the hopes that I would do some crazy flip on the stage. It's not gonna happen. But I hope you'll stay with me as I explain why the individuals behind me are not only an exceptional group of learners, but leaders who are going to make incredible progress in our communities. As I was reminded by Chantel yesterday, on the first day of our IB Language and Literature class junior year, I wrote an introduction letter to the class saying, "This is not a class where you will get answers. In fact, I hope it is a place to generate more questions out of conversations than promote certainty. As a teacher, my goal is not to give you answers to remember, but rather to offer you ideas to consider." And while this may have seemed confusing or even concerning at first, wait, but there's answers, right? Like a rubric or something? You rose to the challenge of critical thinking in every class, from IAs to IOCs, to art portfolios, to papers 1, 2, and 3, thank you, IB History. You flourished as students who don't just memorize facts, but question how we know those facts. Your critical thought was again showcased on the first day of school this year, when we read the poem Responsibility by Grace Paley, and you wrote your own stanzas describing the responsibilities of students, teachers, and writers. You wrote lines like, "It is the responsibility of the student to arrive to class enthusiastic, of the teacher to make measures, but not too drastic, and of the writer to see progress as something fantastic." Lines like, "It is the responsibility of the student to inquire, of the teacher to inspire, and of the writer to never retire. It is the responsibility of the student to challenge society. And lastly, it is the responsibility of the teacher to guide the students and to let themselves be guided, to steer the ship, but know when to pass the wheel." And parents, I know you can understand the difficulty that we share in passing the wheel over, not just because most of them don't have driver's license, but because we want to protect those that we love, often against the world itself. But as they wrote in that first week of school, before college decisions, IB exams, and even the prom, they knew we have a shared responsibility towards making our communities successful. And then it wasn't just the class president or the administration, although they're wonderful, but that we all have to step up to our roles on the ship, and not just with a Facebook comment or post. And they have stepped up, and in doing so have accomplished so much. So whether you've been here for just this year, Ella, Olivia, Samantha, Gabriel, Melissa, or you've been here for many years, Jacob, Jonah, CW, there are so many things you guys have accomplished, and there's too many to name all at once, but here are a few that stand out. Number 1, you created our school's first Black Student Union and GSA Club. Number 2, you did musical performances like Oliver Twist, Fiddler on the Roof, and Hello Dolly. Yes, Ethan, I remember you practicing knee spins in advisory. Not to mention the fantastic band and chorus concerts. We'll never forget the pots and pans performances, DeAndre, Kiana. That's good. You had sports trips, dance team performances, table tennis, Model UN debates, art shows. Your painting, Stella, your relationship to Archive, Yo-Yo, your pirate ship collection, Joey, your fashion design, Samantha, your stormtrooper helmet, Jonah. You created science experiments, both in and out of the school. The effect of plant antibiotics on humans via nutrition, Ryan. Sophie, the work on insects and amber at the American Museum of Natural History. Whew. You applied and made difficult decisions about colleges. Huge shout out to our counselors and teachers that wrote more than a few rec letters. You did a film festival that would rival the one in Tribeca any day of the week. Thank you, Mr. Gibson and Ms. Nowicki. You created history study groups and tutoring sessions. which may have started first as a survival method and then become strangely enjoyable, when standards-based grading actually made sense because of reassessments, when Miss Len seemed like the toughest teacher in the school until you ran out of your IB exams exclaiming how much you knew, that moment when hard work really does pay off. You came to every day of IB exams ready to tackle the test, to show what you know, and even if you didn't need the IB credit, you gave it your absolute best. Not for your teachers, not for a grade, but because of personal integrity. And that matters more than any test. When you presented projects that mattered to you, and therefore to all of us. Jason, that FOA you did the day after the election results, when tensions were high, and you reminded us that in times of difficulty, it is our character and our perseverance that matters. And Mr. Hawthorne got to make his film debut. And lastly, you created a place where teachers trust you enough to go out on a limb, to make personal connections to the classroom, to show sample FOAs about sexual harassment on the subway. Most vulnerable moment as a teacher, by the way. You've truly broken down the divide between student and teacher, teen and adult, reached beyond the walls of the school and applied those IB learner traits to your daily life. So let's go over a few. You are knowledgeable. You've mastered the IB curriculum, finished your exams, turned every paper in, some of you as of yesterday. Luckily, they're very good papers. All while finding that knowledge comes in many forms and is only sometimes showcased on school assignments. You engage on and beyond assignments, connecting classroom to world and back again, beyond the gradebook. Although somehow you manage an A+ every trimester, Chad. I don't know how he did that. You are open-minded, even when it's hard. When you really, really disagree in Socratic seminar, but keep telling yourself, look through another lens. Why might that person think this way? Which way of knowing can I apply today? Did you get that, TOK? You inquire about just about everything. Why are we doing this assignment? Why did the writer say this way? How am I being assessed? Why do we have to wear uniforms when last year's seniors didn't? How do I pick my battles? Why is there inequality in the world? In our school? What can we do? You are reflective. Why did I perform this way? Why do I think this way? This is why I got an ME, and here's how I can get an EE. But by the end of the day, what really matters is what I learned about myself as a learner. But thank God I don't have to do any more discussion post-reflections for her. You are globally minded, advocating to celebrate Chinese New Year in addition to Thanksgiving and educating us all in the process. You take trips around the world, from Cuba to Morocco to Peru, not just for the stamp on the passport or a selfie with the wonders of the world, but to interact with and learn about the people there, to learn a second or third or fourth language, to climb the same mountain, to play a game of basketball. You are caring. From volunteering at local elementary schools to helping a 6th grader pick up his spilled books off the floor. Yes, I saw that, Chaz. When you check in on your teachers to see how they're doing instead of the other way around. Here's looking at you, Jacob Hasek. Or Nick exclaiming, "We appreciate you!" Or Tori and Renata emailing a selfie when we have a sub just to let me know it's going well. Ever wonder why we all smile when you walk in the room? Well, except Mr. Gibson, but you know he loves you. When you visit your 10th grade history teacher all the time, just to see how she's doing and to tell her about your college adventures and decisions, and because you care about each other, even years later, right, Ms. Venuti? You take risks to speak up respectfully, but with strength and sincerity, to each other and to authority. From rightfully calling me out during our unit with Sula, to bravely informing classmates about our lack of awareness on mental health. Never stop speaking up. But try not to commit logical fallacies, and remember soapstone is a necessity. And lastly, you are principled, caring for justice, fairness, and taking responsibility for your actions, not just in poetry, but in life. Seniors, you have made such a difference within the walls of the Léman community. You've been a role model for younger classmates, an inspiration to your teachers and administrators, and a family to each other. So if I could just leave you with any one last bit of advice, and Candace, we'll see if I can do this without tearing up. I can't look at you. Respect each other, even when you think differently, especially when you think differently. But know it's okay to be different. Respect yourself, even when you're disappointed, even if you're tired, even if you think you won't possibly get there on time. Show up, speak out. Know that your voice very much counts. Don't just follow the crowd. Respect what you can accomplish together. Know that you all have the power, the integrity, the grit, the ability to make a difference, and we need it. Know that your time, your energy, and your ideas are the most valuable present you can give the world. And it's our responsibility to respect and expect that in each other. And if you ever think the world needs a reminder, remember, a one-word post-it can go a long way. Congratulations, seniors. You have grown into remarkable young adults. You've made lasting change in our community, and you've certainly made me a better teacher in person. I know you said in your responsibility poems that it's a teacher's job to inspire. Well, I think all of us here would agree. You inspire us immensely. We are so proud to have known you. We cannot wait to see the good you will do the world. It has been an honor and privilege to be a part of that journey. Thank you. And now it is my honor to introduce the nominated student speaker of the class of 2017, the incredible Rhea Chakraborthy.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Rhea Chakraborthy, and I'm truly honored to be this year's graduating class speaker. For a long time now, I've wanted to be class speaker. I always imagined it would be a moment like this, a moment where I can impress my family, impress my teachers, and especially impress my peers. But recently, I found that impressing those people shouldn't be the purpose of this speech. I'm not here to talk about my experience. I'm not here to talk about my experience of high school on behalf of the senior class, but to them, about our experiences. And after I thank those who have helped me get to this point, I really hope I can fulfill that purpose. So first, I must thank my family, particularly my father and mother. They've made endless efforts to make me and to remind me to be a productive member of society. Though my father would probably prefer I eloquently speak in English, I think I can best thank my family in our native tongue, Bangla. So, Baba, Ma, কোনো কবিতা এত মিষ্টি নাই, কোনো সকালের আভা এত সুন্দর নাই, যে ঠিক মতন বলতে পারবে আমি তোমাকে কত ভালোবাসি। for those of you unfamiliar with the sweetest language in the world, that roughly translates to, there is no poem sweet enough, there is no sunrise beautiful enough to help me accurately describe how much I love you. Baba's probably in the audience thinking, wow, big words, wonder how long it took her to put that together. But I promise you, it's one of the few things that I didn't Google during my senior year. I would also like to thank the faculty and staff at school. Born and raised in Jamaica, Queens, I made sure to appreciate the luxury I've had to attend school in downtown Manhattan. I mean, come on. I'm graduating in a ballroom. If that ain't fancy, I don't know what is. Please hear me when I say, you and your efforts don't go unnoticed. Finally, I'd like to thank my teachers. I think I can say for many of us that you've shaped our compassion, not only towards learning, but towards life. In my experience, I'm especially thankful for my history teachers, Ms. Venuti from sophomore year, and Ms. Lenahan from my 2 years in the IB Diploma program. I'd also like to thank Ms. Hunt, our English teacher, and Ms. Shami, my Spanish teacher. Inside the classroom and out, it was helpful having people just as bubbly and as overexcited about everything and anything and entertaining my curiosities. Though I've come to increase my value in education, I think I've come to value the friendships my class has created with these teachers even more. The stimulating conversations had after school among several senior girls and a couple of teacher ladies are amazing. Unpacking controversies, the shared wit and sarcasm are definitely memories to be cherished. Lastly, I'd like to thank the Don of all teachers, Mr. Gibson. Thank you for helping me develop my love of film and teaching me not only to take on the role of a consumer, but also that of a critic. Thank you for always being there at 7:45 in the morning, letting me bother you while you attended to emails, and talking to me throughout all the ups and downs of IB and my teenage girl life. I feel very honored to have met all of you and gotten to know you the way I do. I love you very much. All of you have contributed. All of you have contributed to the experiences my class and I have accumulated over the years, making us into the people we are today, and for that, I will be forever grateful. Now, I'd like to address my class. Hey guys. So, earlier I spoke about wanting to impress people, and I think in the eyes of many, that idea holds true for our generation. As a profound musician of our time, otherwise known as C. Breezy, once said, we know how to party. From the way we're always posting our best selves on Instagram, from how we're always trying to act so grown for our age, and how we're quick to keep up with the newest trends in fear of being left behind. I think we've become to be this way because we're so afraid of coming in second place. In a way, though, I think that mentality has helped us. President Obama spoke to millennials in his farewell speech saying, "You have guarded against cynicism." Now, besides all of the school-related stress memes taking over every internet timeline during the school year, I agree with him. You may not realize it, but by acting the way we do in public, we subconsciously told the world that we refuse not to be positive. We make it look like we're winning the race of life because that's what we actually want, even though we know there's so much more going on underneath those social media posts. Especially in the last few years, I've seen so much zeal in our class. It's amazing. Renata, I become speechless every time I look at one of your art pieces. Jason, keep posting dance videos because you'll look back one day and see the intense progress you've made. And Amarachi, your rhetoric is truly comparable to that of F. Scott Fitzgerald's. When you listen to a musical composition and the legato melodies come together in a great big crescendo to inject an emotional overload in the listener, that's how I feel when I read your writing. But there's so much more passion like this in my generation that you don't see online, because we don't like to show people what we do unless we think it's absolutely perfect. Otherwise, we think we'll lose. Sorry. I'm wearing this hat. I earned it. I want to remind you guys, though, that the efforts you make to better yourselves and pursuing your passions are only propelling you forward, even during the setbacks. In fact, I think that not being the best allows us to come together to be able to become the best. 2 weeks ago, we all had the toughest exam season of our lives so far. We were the embodiment of those stress memes, times 3. But in the preceding months of vigorous preparation, we all came to study and mostly stress together. I think we put aside the fear of losing to help each other win, even while dying a little on the inside. And if your kids tell you they didn't, they're lying. But I have many hopes that will soon revive in the upcoming summer before going where we've worked so hard to get to. Now that we've finished that academic chapter of our lives that sort of forced us to come together, I hope the future reads one that makes us continue to want to come together. I hope we see past the idea of trying to impress people with what we do and have it instead be a byproduct of what we do. I know that even still, we'll have periods of time where we're unsure of ourselves, but in those times, I hope we remember to search for answers by looking towards our creativity. Because we've become so afraid of revealing our vulnerability, I hope we remember that that feeling is only a naturality, and showing that weakness to others does not make you lose, but harbors among us a sense of compatibility. We don't show anyone else the depression, anxiety, heartbreak, and distress, but because those are problems our society seems to want to suppress. But remember that even through it all, you find a way to finesse. You're running as fast and as hard as you can. You're doing your best. And I hope you don't slow down because of everything trying to keep you at home, because being uncomfortable allows you to roam. Overcoming the overbearing voices makes you completely free from the dome, which will then reveal you to a completely new freedom. My father often tells me, God gave you the ability to accept the things you cannot change, but all the while reminding me that he also gave me the ability to change the things I cannot accept. And I believe in ourselves we've made it a pact to keep alive that mission and intact. Despite the turmoil that may tear us apart, not exceeding that expectation, not revolutionizing that art, those losses can't define you if you choose to begin a new journey in it with all of your heart. And in those weak moments, take that time to cherish those who offer a loving caress, because that is when there's no need to impress. After being in that pit, you'll bounce back when you take it upon yourself and refuse to be victim to any attack. Continue to go out there and embark on the chase. Soon you'll find yourself winning a new race and taking your rightful position in first place. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashika. The only thing that I could think could possibly follow that would be to award the diplomas. So we'll do that now. I'd like to call up Ms. Castelluccio, our head of school, and Mr. Mariah, our assistant head of school, and we will present the diplomas.
Oluwatobi Tololokpa Adisa. Melissa Esquivel Alcoced. Chad Takashi Kotler Alef. Ella Alexander. Amin Alisha Hiha. Lily Nicole Aledo. Molly Elizabeth Anderson. Candace Apia. DeAndre Annam Bourne. Aaron Brunel. Alexander Ramon Caceres Wright. Rashika Ridti Chakraborthy. Konjing Chen. Ija Chen. Chloe Demiba. Peter Depps. Pedro Enrique dos Santos Dines. Minghuan Daodo. Aaron Dominguez. Samantha Brooke Eddington. Renata Erickson. Han Gong. Victoria Granger. Everett Veras Gulpis. Ivy Noguera Hainline. Donna Harlop. Iwei He. Leo Hung. Yao Hu. Amarachuku Progress Ihanichuku. Jack Jameson. Wang Jiang. Gabriel James Robert Uhas. Janbota Kadirova. Jaylin Lee. Da Lin. Jawei Ma. Kiana K.N. Nengo. Jason Ghali. Aisha Aishegul Oral. Jacob Caleb Pasek. Olivia Elizabeth Polk. Hans Prakash. Mingsha Chien. Ethan Charles Reese. Jonah Gray Roberts. Stella Rose Roper. Chantel Alexandria Rolston. Ryan Anthony Rosito. Samantha Ava Schulman. Jianfeng Shen. Martina E. Silva. Nicholas Sterling. Layla Stern. Zuja Tung. Andrew Then. Chaz Maximilian Vest. Yoran Wu. Shu Yuen. Oskar Zablotny. Arsalan Brandon Zaidi. Jo Chun Zhang. Jamin Ju.
I would now like to welcome the Léman Manhattan Chorus, who will lead us in singing the Léman Manhattan Alma Mater. Thank you. Before I present this wonderful class to you officially, 3 brief notices. First, I'd like to thank Ms. Grace Hightower De Niro for coming today and for sharing her thoughts with us. Second, in just a few moments, these graduates, now graduates, will exit the stage. So as they recess down the center aisle, I would like to ask that we allow them to exit the ballroom to the sidewalk where you will be able to greet and congratulate them. And lastly, please do join us at our 1 Morris Street facility for a reception on the 22nd floor immediately following this ceremony. I would now like to invite the class of 2017 to stand. You have your diplomas in hand, but according to our tradition, the moment you move that tassel on your cap from left to right, you move from being a student to being an alumnus or an alumna. As you are about to become alumni of Léman Manhattan, know that Léman Manhattan will always welcome you home. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I present to you the Léman Manhattan Preparatory School Class of 2017.